So let me check YouTube. Good. So we are now live in Zoom and we are live on YouTube.
Thank you, Sebastian. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to part 3, day 1 of the Association Journey presentations. I am Alushka Ritchie, President of the World Federation of Tourist Guide Associations. We have had such wonderful feedback from our viewers and interest from our associations that we've decided to host this one last opportunity of part 3 with these journeys. So hopefully you can join us for today and hopefully tomorrow as well. It's my pleasure to hand over to Esther Banneker, who will be facilitating today's session. Esther has been part of the WFTGA family for many years and has dedicated much of her time to us as past executive board member and vice president. Today, she joins us as a WFTGA Global Brand Ambassador. So Esther, thank you for your time today. And I know that our presenters are in really capable hands. And I look forward to hearing what everyone is presenting today.
I think we're all looking forward to that, including our viewers. And I want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe who've turned in for this journey today. I think I should begin by thanking Sebastian for his technical help in this. And I want to introduce Alushka and Viola as the 2 executive board members who have worked very hard to put these journeys together. And as she said, it is very popular with our members, and I hope we'll continue to do this. I want to extend a cordial welcome to all of our presenters today. I'm going to introduce them by association name in the order of their presentations, and then they will introduce themselves. Let me say that we've shared some of our housekeeping rules already, but so that the rest of you are aware of them, the presentations will be 12 minutes and you'll hear me give them a 1-minute warning shortly before we go on. The viewers may post questions to the group, but they'll use the chat box to do that. And keep your questions respectful and about what's going on in the presentation. So we're not here to talk so much about WFTGA or any matters involving our federation, but we're sharing our journeys with our member associations. Now let me give you an idea of who's going to be on the agenda today. We will have first from Moreshet Duresh, from Israel, the Israel's Incoming Tourist Guide Association, and then the CTGA of Toronto. They're operating as the Tourist Guide Association of Toronto. Then we'll have the Philippine Federation of Professional Tour Guide Associations, better known as TGFED, the Piano Islands Tours and Travel from Bangladesh, followed by the Ukrainian Tourist Guide Association from Ukraine. Moldova National Association will be a pre-recorded presentation, and their organization is ANTRIM. We'll have the Russian Association of Tourist Guides and Tour Managers from Russia, of course, and then finally the Association of Professional Tour Guides, APTG, from London. Now, you should be aware that today's session, will be recorded and shared on all WFTGA platforms following this event. And I think now it's time to turn it over to our first presenter from Israel.
Thank you very much, Esther. Thank you, Alushka, for setting this up. And my name is Yoni Shapira. Viola, also thank you, and Kristen. My name is Yoni Shapira, and I'm the chairman of Moreshet Derech, which means Heritage Trail, Israel's Incoming Tour Guide Association. And thank you for letting us share the journey. We already did it. First presentation is September, and now I'm sort of doing a filler, what happened since September, if anything, till today. So I will, without further ado, head to the presentation and tell you a little bit about what Israel is all about, because Israel is a tiny country that has only 470 kilometers long, 135 kilometers wide to those who do the metric system. It has 9.5 million citizens. However, we have 4.5 million tourists in 2019. We estimate 3,000 incoming tour guides, although registered tour guides, we have over 8,000. And Moreshet Dech represents about 1,500 tour guides. You all know Israel more than you thought. And more than anybody here knows the other countries that we are on, primarily because, and this has to work somehow, because we have the Holy Land. And as the Holy Land, we have up here in the north, we have the Galilee with Nazareth, with the Sea of Galilee, Mediterranean beaches with the city of Caesarea that Herod built. We have Haifa, the city of Haifa, where the World Baha'i Shrine is, the world center of the Baha'i faith. And Tel Aviv, which is one of the leading destinations for gay tourism in the world. We have in the mid-range is Judea and Samaria, where we have the city of Jerusalem. I don't have to tell you about its importance and holiness, but we also have the city of Hebron, where the patriarchs are, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their wives from the biblical period. We have the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth, and the Judean desert, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. And down south, we have 60% of the country is desert, the Negev desert. We have the craters, a lot of geology, a lot of hiking, a lot of trails, a lot of outbound activity in there. And all the way at the bottom tip is the Red Sea, a tropical Red Sea. So we have from the north all the way to the snow slopes of Mount Hermon to the tropical sea. We have quite a diversity of activity. Israel now is the leading country in pandemic inoculation to the COVID-19. We have already over 2 million inoculations. I'm getting my second one this Friday. However, we are in total closure, and it seems that the inoculations of the first round are not working as we would have loved them to work. We had over 10,000 new COVID people in the last 24 hours. So this is not good. So let's go over the journey. When did we start? 15th of March is when we all stopped working. Basically, tourism went to a full halt worldwide because of pandemic. It took us a couple of months to get organized, get orientation, and understand where we are at. And by the 14th of May, when we realized that nothing is happening, we are not taken care of, the government is totally clueless and useless in moving things along, we had a major demonstration that we organized Moreshet Dech. However, we brought thousands of other people from different tourism industries. You could see the purple color dominating the park in front of the parliament, in front of the Knesset, and that's all Moreshet Dech t-shirts. So we started with that, which created, as a result of that demonstration, a new association of uniting tourism industries, where Moreshet Dech is only one of those industries. However, that didn't work too well, and by mid-June, we realized that things are not moving well enough, and one of our friends, Peter Gochvat, started a hunger strike in front of the Knesset. Very quickly, from one small tent, a few little tents joined. That turned into a little hut, and that became a meeting place for tour guides from Moreshet Dech, day in and day out, with 3 to 4 people at a hunger strike, up to 14 days, just drinking water midsummer. It's not easy. But everyone going to the parliament, because we were on the main road, was stopped and brought in, and we shared our information, and that started a whole movement of activity. However, it didn't really help us that much, and we'll get into it in a minute. So we started establishing committees. One of the most important committees of volunteers that started learning what are the laws and how we deal with unemployment. We met, and they met with Social Security services and dealt with unemployment, which put us in an awkward position because we all freelancers, and by definition, we were not entitled to to unemployment, but we helped over 750 people get some kind of compensation. But that was not enough. People were in dire straits. Couples that both of them are tour guides, mothers of young kids under closure, had no way of working, no way of getting money, did not have any unemployment. So we started a fundraiser and we raised over $15,000 in which we handed out food coupons to those families that needed it. We provided over 350 sponsor food box, large food boxes per family, and free psychological counseling. Down below the picture, you could see that we also included Palestinian tour guides from East Jerusalem and from Bethlehem, providing them also with coupons and with boxes, contribution of our members toward that pool. It was important and created a strong bond with the Palestinian tour guides there, that eventually they'll join the World Federation. We created a committee of government relations. Because we were called into the Knesset, because we were meeting with members, we sat on Zoom meetings of the Economic Committee, Tourism, of Law and Order, different committees of the Knesset. We have managed to push forward and stop the annual fee that tour guides in Israel have to pay the Ministry of Tourism for renewing our license, and the need to renew the license for 2020. It's not much money, but it is still, when you don't have any, it's still something that we did not want to pay out of pocket. We are still fighting with the financial committee. We are on meetings. As a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, we are going to be on one of those sessions in Zoom where the government will be talking about a green passport. When will and if the skies will open up. The exposure was great. We got media, we got TV, we got radio. We were in committee meetings. We made a mark. People started realizing that we are a power that has to be reconciled with, talked about, and that was a very important thing. However, did it get us very far? Not really. What we demanded from the government is to establish a national fund for saving tourism. That did not happen. We asked them to put a fund together to retain, preserve, and serve the entire tourism industry, to jumpstart the tourism economy. And we brought our assistance as professional people from the field, because the people in the Ministry of Tourism do not necessarily know how the field works, and I don't have to share that with you. You know it very well. So one of the things that we asked is for money to put in to subsidize a bus and a tour guide. And our economics shows that if we put in $1 subsidy from the government towards a guide and a driver, the maneuver or movement of tourism, domestic tourism primarily, will generate $3 to $5 into the economy. It's a win-win situation. Obviously, this did not happen because we had a closure, but the government did allocate $3.5 million for the first stage. The first stage was only guides with private cars. That means we'll guide private tours of taking 20 people outdoors, 10 people indoors, but not into attractions, not into parks, not into sightseeing areas, because those are all closed. It would have provided, if it would have started properly, it would have provided 4 days per guide of guiding. So again, it's not a real solution. But the next stage is where we want the government to start pouring in $7.5 million to subsidize the bus and the driver when tourism will start. Because the idea is, when tourism opens up, when the Ministry of Health will allow us to move forward into the field, then we'll ask pensioner clubs, social clubs, workers' unions, in different languages. We have guides that speak 82 languages in this country, because we're a country of immigrants, and we have plenty of people in those languages that they can take them around, take them on a tour to enjoy the outdoors, nature, parks and so on, have a good culinary experience and so on. That will generate tourism economy. We also offered a plan to the Ministry of Education saying, take the guides. They are professional storytellers. They know the history. They know the things. Put them into the education system so you can relieve the situation of teachers, which cannot handle all the capsules and so on. That did not happen. However, we did manage to get 50 guides to be subsidized for full year of training as teachers, and they will enter the education system. Hopefully, we did not lose them to the tour guide industry. And another 100 guides or so are subsidized to become educational tour guides, which means they can work in schools, which is about a 3-month course. Where did we start? We started in January of 2020 with our GA, which we have next week, with 780 members. We are now with 1,287 members. We started
Excuse
with—
me, Yanni, we're to 1 minute, please.
We started with full calendar for 2020, and it ended up with not one day of guiding. The Ministry of Tourism has not been very forthcoming in sharing with us or putting us in round tables, a discussion of how to work things. So we are confused. We were confused then. However, now we have provide virtual tours, online lectures, seminars by Zoom, as you all are. No social benefits and unemployment. We are fighting for that. We had no real recognition as a workers' union, and now we have. We met with the Parliament, we have Ministry of Tourism, Prime Minister's office, and so on. So where have we started? No social benefits. We are working. No real recognition. 1 second, I was there. No government to work with. Our government is going in 60 days into the 4th election in 2 years. They're not handling the pandemic right. We are in chaos, and it's total confusion. International airport is closing tonight for 2 weeks or more. And I would say thank you to World Federation, to Alushka and the members for allowing us to share our story with you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Yanni, and thank you for staying within your time. I think we might have time for one question. Let's start with one. Alushka, do you have those questions, or Viola?
There's nothing at the moment. Esther, if you'd like to do the first sort of 3 presentations, then we can recap with some questions after that.
Okay, then we'll move right on to Toronto. May we have James take the microphone, please?
Well, excuse me for my unadulterated advertising of the world's most beautiful country. Our logo. As you might hear from me, I'm not originally from Toronto. I'm the president of what we now call TGAT. We took back our name, Tourist Guide Association of Toronto. We used to be the CTGA of Toronto, and we had a few issues with people thinking we were the California Tomato Growers Association. It took us a few years to fix our name and get better web recognition. And we like TGAT as well, because in the modern acronym, it stands for They're Good at That. So I represent 100 members, plus or minus. We're about to start a membership drive, but it's like a lot of things, we had to get our own house in order. So Toronto is in Southern Ontario. We are the commercial capital of the country. We have approximately 1/3 of the population of the country within about a 1.5 hour drive of the city of Toronto. And that can be about 3 blocks the way that the traffic runs at times. I have a mixture of members, and they came from various ranges, and they come from various different countries. I'm originally from London in Great Britain. I'm waving at Danny, the center of the known universe. And our biggest problem in Toronto is everyone wants to go to Niagara. But let's go back to pandemic. I also do multi-day tours, and I happened to be in Peru when the world shut down, which is another series of chats over another time, and possibly an adult beverage. So we started to close down 3/4 of the way through March. About 2 weeks in, we were incredibly lucky that our Prime Minister actually did something, and that was that he proceeded to give us money lifeline of $2,000. Very few questions asked per month to people. That has now gone down to $1,800, for which we're grateful. I'm not getting it at the moment. I am involved in what I call my winter avoidance program. I'm in Chile, in Santiago at the moment. I'm not at home in Toronto, but I'm going home soon. So Again, we cover Toronto, the outlying area, Southern Ontario. Our biggest thing for our members is Niagara Falls. So some of this comes down very, very quickly. What did we do very quickly for our members? We realized that this wasn't going to be something quick. We first thought it was. I've got to admit, we dragged our heels through April. Oh yeah, it'll be better. Everything will be back to normal in May. It wasn't. And as the board, we got together and decided this was a golden opportunity. Instead of being able to dedicate an hour or two a month, we dedicated hours a day to our association. And the first thing is we got our house in order. We had a training manual that was 20 years old. It had been kind of tinkered with 10 years before. Myself and another member of the board, we got the manual, we ripped it to pieces, we updated it. We did something very revolutionary. We sent it out to all our members and said, send us back your corrections. I'm still getting corrections to this day. Some of them are real, some of them are opinions, but we did that. That was a big thing. We've updated our local knowledge tests. We're not licensed as such because the city doesn't want to pay licensing, but we took over our licensing. Our local knowledge tests. We're in the process of putting it online. We've had difficulties finding a suitable program which will do exactly what we want. We took back our own certification. We've been involved with an outside company that was worse than useless, and we've taken back that. And we've increased the number of guides that we certify ourselves. We have our wonderful new logo that was put together by my vice president behind me. I'm using that as a background. We then decided we've got to reach out to our members, and we got a Zoom account. For $200 a year, we have not the biggest Zoom account, not the smallest. It works very well. We're able to do a number of things for our members. And we try and do 3 things a month for our members. We have done a bit of training with a World Federation trainer. We've brought in some other trainers as well on actual skills. And then we're doing stuff on local knowledge. And our latest and greatest is cultural exchange. So for instance, tomorrow we're doing a cultural exchange. And we're talking about where people have come from, either religious or ethnic background, how this helps you with tourism. When I'm dealing with somebody from your background, I'm going to pick on Yanni, somebody like Yanni. How do I deal with somebody from Israel? What do they like about my country? What don't they like? And then the most important thing is we share a comfort food recipe. So we're doing that to reach out to our members. We've done a couple of outings for our members, and normally we do an outing in a bus. Instead, we've been doing it by public transport. We've been going to a place that we can, everybody with their own feeling of comfort. And then I came across one idea. We did a picnic. Everyone can social distance. Everybody brings their own food. We can get out. We can do something nice. And it was a great chance to meet people. The first time, everyone was a little cold and standoffish. And about 15 minutes over, we had the sharing of food, contrary to the health department, but we were sharing cookies and baked goods and stuff like that. And we had a wonderful get together. And of all the things, one of them is my members have said, we need to do these picnics regularly. So that was something else that we did. As a board as well, we are going to get together and do a long-term plan. Instead, we've always, muddled our way along. And we'll do this next month. We'll do that next month. We're coming up with a whole schedule of when we do events as a framework, flexible, but not totally. And we're going to come up with, at our next board meeting, we're going to come up with an 18-month plan on training and education. Again, local knowledge and actual guiding skills. So we want to do that. We want to come up. So when we finish as a board in November, my term is up as president. I have to step back because I've been on the board the maximum amount of time, but we hand over to the new board enough stuff to keep them going until March. and they will be obliged to do the same. So these are the sort of things we've been doing. New logo, new badges, new feel. Taking back our name was a big one. There was some opposition on the board, but funny enough, it was our oldest members were the ones who took to it more. Oh, new logo, new look, new feel. So that's what we've been doing. We haven't been interacting much with the government because we can't get hold of them. The Ministry of Tourism from Canada is a joke. They leave it up to the provinces, they leave it up to the cities. And Tourism Toronto, as they call themselves, Destination Toronto, are far busier selling hotel nights than dealing with tour guides, tourist guides, or anything like that. And in the last few months, we have now got our house is basically in order. We can improve it. Now I'm reaching out. I've reached out to Alushka. I've reached out to the association in Vancouver, Montreal. I'm reaching out to the National Federation, which is the US, trying to get some more touches. Hey, we're in a good state. How can we help you? We've set up that our webinars that we're going to invite Vancouver along for the ones that are pertinent. And we had 2 Vancouver members join one of our webinars not long ago. It's a start. We're paying for it. Hey, hopefully when they pay for something, they'll invite us or something like this. We can share things. We're recording. We're working out how we can share what we record. Basically, we will come out of this pandemic stronger. We're going to plan on coming out bigger because we're going to start a membership drive starting soon. So that's where we stand. And I'm open for questions. And I think I'm under my time, Esther.
Yes, I was about to say you have 2 minutes, but that's fantastic. You covered a lot of information in record time.
Thank you.
I think that we'll hold the questions until after the next presentation. And because Alushka said, let's do 3 and then go on, and I'm going to quickly move on so we can take advantage of those extra 2 minutes you gave us. We will have a presentation from the Philippine Federation of Professional Tour Guide Associations. And if we could have Alberto come on to introduce himself first.
Hi, everyone. I am Alberto Gadia. I am the president of the Philippine Federation of Professional Tour Guides, which they call it, our acronym, they call it the TGFED or TGFED. And we are the sole association, federation in the Philippines. And we have, let me share my presentation, by the way. Our association is basically comes from the 3 major islands of the country. We have the biggest major island, which is the Luzon. We have also another one on the central part of the country, which is, they call it Visayas, and the southern part, which we call it the Mindanao area. So if you see from the presentation itself, we are a 7,107 islands, and and we have more than 80 provinces in the country, and we are so proud because right now, from the 17 member associations, we are now starting to cover. We're starting to do quality member associations from the 81 provinces of the country. And really the journey is, this invitation is really something valuable or something closest to our heart, especially for Filipinos, especially with the challenges and the journeys that we can write as tour guides. It's really something that we, this could be, this is part of our history. This is part of our spiel as a tour guide. And this is something that we are, a story that no one could ever change, because it really an experiential thing. And if you notice from our presentation, our country was really, we have lots of stories to tell from 2020. Our association, by the way, the Philippine Federation of Tour Guides, exists for more than a decade already. And our journey in 2020 is really quite challenging. There's a volcanic eruption that we had on the first quarter of the year. And then there's an earthquake during that period of time. A storm affected our country. And of course, the spread of the virus, which really affect our industry and our sector. Our association, by the way, the Philippine Federation, like I stated, we have 17 members association in the Philippines. We have more than 1,000 members all over the country. And we have 30 to 40% members who are from the government, who are also a tour guide, and 60% are from the private sector or individual workers. And you know what? Our journey is really written from the wall. And this wall is really something that we would like to sketch to everyone. And the ideas from the journey has something to do with the resiliency that we have. Actually, it's not only the Filipinos who are resilient, but all of us tour guides all over the world. We are very resilient, especially amidst of the challenges that we are facing. You know what, just to share, this is really something for Filipinos. This is some of the positive, or we are very optimistic of the keywords that we, with the journey that we have right now. The words like optimism, faith, and hospitality. You know what? When I keep on, when I always think of the word hospitality, this is one of the culture, or one of the uh, key tradition, or key value of the Filipinos in the tourism industry. The hospitality part, the hospitality word. But you know what? This hospitality right now really affects our industry, especially with what we are facing right now with the pandemic. But as I stated, because of resiliency, we are very optimistic. We change, we convert the 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 challenges to an opportunity. And because Filipinos are really, we are resilient, and we keep on our faith to always be incorporated in everything that we are doing. Our journey really, our journey in the country, in the Philippines, through the help of our national government with the Department of Tourism, headed by our Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat. She's very, very helpful to assist the tour guides in the country, especially with our situation and with our status quo. That's why, with the help of our officials, government officials, our national association partners and collaborators, they assist us in terms of the waiving, the national government assist us in waiving our accreditation. The Philippine tour guides closely work with the national government, so that, and the end result, the national government assists us our accreditation to be waived. And at the same time, we had an accreditation online through the help of our national agency. And also, We have several progressive accreditation as well. So, which also a very big help for the tour guides who are affected. And also, within 2020, this is already actually a plan already for almost 5 years, but with the help of collaboration and the convergence, we have the national government through the help of the standards of the Department of Tourism. We come up with the idea of creating a Philippine tour guides qualifying exam. So we want to professionalize our profession as tour guide. And we are so happy because our association, our national association, is part of the consultative body and drafting the tourism recovery plan of the country. And as a result, we have a very good partnership with our Technical Education Skills and Development Authority. And if you can check our presentation, our member associations from different parts of the country, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, we produce a number of regional lead trainers who will be assisting the national government of the Technical Education Skills Development Authority to assist and extend in training, assessing guides. At the same time, those who are when we restart tourism in our country, this would be a very good kickoff. So also, we are proud that we produced 8 national capital region tour guides who undergo a free trainers methodology sponsored by our national capital region for technical education. At the same time, we are so happy because our request to the national education or to the technical education was approved. And it will now be simulated to the different regions in the country. At the same time, we're so thankful to Bayanihan Act. The Bayanihan Act, by the way, for everybody's information, is a national law which was approved by our national government in helping our tourism stakeholders. And our industry, our sector received 100 million budget through the help of Bayanihan Act for our sector, for tour guiding sector particularly. It was clearly...
Alberto, 1 minute, please.
Yeah. And again, as we stated, these figures is really something and very important to us. With our national association members, we believe that we keep the faith, we heal as one, and we are part of a bigger future and restart and recovery of our industry, which is the tourism sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberto. Good to see you again. It looks like there are some questions in the question box. Alushka, would you like to address those, or Viola?
Thank you, Esther. I see that we have 2 for Yoni. So Yoni, would you like to address them? I think you have read them. Yoni, we have the question for you.
I have the question, and I already responded within the chat. I'm not sure that people read it, but I do not think that this is a place and a time for bringing up controversial issues that we are dealing with here. I think that the person who asked the question has wrong information, biased information, misinformation, and disinformation. And we are dealing with it. And as I mentioned in my answer, I give dual narrative. The question to anybody who doesn't know was about the oppression of the Palestinians, with a statement that there is such a thing. I do dual narrative tours. I do geopolitical tours. As you saw in my presentation, we gave out money out of pocket to help Palestinian tour guides because of their need, without any questions asked. They need it, they're colleagues. We work with them together. They have their union, we have our union. We are supporting of each other, and therefore the whole question, the whole bias puts the presenter of the question in a kind of state of mind that I do not think this is the place to answer it.
Perfect, thank you.
Very much like I don't think, if the person is from the United States, I really don't mind if he's Republican, conservative, is from Antifa or from extreme left, extreme right. It's none of our issue to bring up with the World Federation. We are apolitical.
Thank you, Yanni. I believe we do have the gentleman's contact information for further offline discussion. So you're most welcome to make contact with him. There's basically just a comment on your story, Yanni, where you mentioned your regional cooperation, for example, with Bethlehem. So there's just a little comment that perhaps this is a solution to an area such as the Danube region. So just a little food for thought, and that's good thinking, and how we can learn from each other with these presentations and adapt it to the different areas. So thank you for highlighting that for us. And then James will be leaving us now, Esther. So I don't see any questions for James. So we can say goodbye to James and move on with the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Sorry, I have a very important issue to deal with. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us and for all the information you shared. Enjoy that beautiful Chilean weather and food.
Thanks, Esther.
Bye-bye. I think since there, I do see there's some more questions in the Q&A. Should we address those, or you want to move on yet?
We can actually ask this, but I think this will pertain to all the presenters. But for those who would like to answer, from Diana, she says, thank you very much, firstly. And secondly, she asks, to reactivate tourism, how have all of you taken precautions to care for tourists? In other words, protocols. So I'm sure some of you will address this in your presentations to come, but if there's anyone that just would like to just put something forward, just raise your hand and we can allow you to answer Diana's question. Any of the presenters eager to answer? You're all good? I think Diana, your question is quite good, and what we've learned from part 1 and part 2 is that we will actually have some of our presenters address this in their presentations. So I think let's wait to the end with your question, and then we'll put it forward to the presenters again, but I'm sure the presentations will answer your question. So let's move on, Esther, and see what we can expect from the rest of the presenters.
This is very intriguing. Our next presentation from the Piano Island Tours and Travel from Bangladesh. Let's see, we're going to have Mr. Faisal Razu tell us about tourism from his area, his journey. Faisal, your microphone is muted. If you would unmute your microphone and start from the beginning, please.
Thank you everyone, and especially WFTGA President Ms. Alushka to give me this opportunity. I am Faisal Raju from Bangladesh, here PM, and very foggy winter night today. I welcome you and start my presentation for all of you. Here before I start my presentation, I want to say I start my job as a tour guide. After a lot of year, I am people and inbound foreigner people, and I facing a lot of problem. This COVID, how I survive and how we rebuild, I want to present session. Piano Island Tours and Travel start his journey from 2011. After that, we are start communicate with our international traveler, and we do inbound right now.
Faisal, I will now turn off your videos, so because I think your internet connection is at the moment not the best, and we tried that we see your presentation but not your video of you. Okay, I think he lost completely the connection. He is out of the panel.
Okay,
Yes.
I think we move on to the next person, Esther.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Hopefully he can reestablish that connection and we'll hear more about Bangladesh's journey. We will now have the Ukrainian Tourist Guide Association. Would Lada please take the microphone?
Yes, please, with my pleasure. My name is Lada Danik, and I'm a member of All Ukrainian Tourist Guides Association. I live in Kherson, which is in the south of the country. And we are very grateful for this wonderful opportunity to tell about the activities of our association. And now I would like to present you the outcome of our activities, and I would like to share my screen. So, okay, can you see it? Okay, so at first some figures and facts. The history of our association dates back to the year 2016. A year later, we joined WFTGA. And at the beginning of 2020, our association accounted for 403 tourist guides. Right now, we are in a process of re-registration, and early February we'll get the clear picture of our regular members. Anyway, we anticipate that outflow of the guides is going to be up to 20%. So as for our offline activities, in February 2020, we celebrated International Tourist Guide Day by the conference Experience Economy in Kiev. And as you can see in the picture, the almost participants almost from all the parts of Ukraine were present, and our plans were actually ambitious. But starting from March, you know that the lockdown was introduced and lost our jobs in tourism. So almost all of our activities moved online, and the tourist season was very short, almost within several months. And inbound tourism was minimal according to indicators. The increased activity of the domestic tourism proved that the branch is only halfway ready. And what is the most important, that the local tourist product is not developed. Therefore, we started more actively helping creating new products for Ukrainian travelers. So we launched supporting SOS course and networking in Telegram app, where our guides have given lectures, seminars, and now it is still on. So we mostly exchange professional information there. So we have conducted a set of webinars in rural heritage in tourist context for the partners on the south of Ukraine, which is quite logical because the south of our country used to be agrarian, so that was a great help for the tourist guides there. And we also conducted training programs for the guides of national parks in interpretation of the natural heritage and seminars in interactive and immersive skills for tours for the museum guides. The association continued their education, not only by training and advanced professional training courses for tourist guides, but also by internships and strategic sessions with partners. So within a year, we managed to conduct 4 batches of courses for guides in different regions of the country. Developed and conducted the course and skills enhancement for guides, for the tourist guides in Chernobyl exclusion zone. Provided an upgrade training for the guides in the partnership with the National Historical and Cultural Reserve Kiev-Pechesk-Lavra, which is in Kiev, and developed and conducting the courses in designing and implementing culinary tours and excursions. So as for international activity, 2020, it was mostly participation in online conferences and webinars. And we would like to mention that late 2019, together with the Slovak Association, we managed to arrange the internship for the group of tourist guides in Bratislava, Slovakia, and early before the lockdown, early 2020, the similar internship in Riga, Latvia. The representatives of our association also attended webinars of WFTGA, VTM, and Rebuilding Travel. So we also took part in legislation improvements, and we would like to say that the reorganization of the executive authority in tourism took place in Ukraine. And now at the moment, we have only the state agency in tourism development. And this is a part of the Ministry of Culture. So we don't have Ministry of Tourism. And this often repeated reorganization actually do not help and they hamper sustainable development of the branch. And as a result, financial support was slightly extended to the branch itself. And tourist guides were not supported at all. We mean financially and in other spheres as well. So in the picture, you can see the head of the board of the Ukrainian Association of Tourist Guides, Nina Gavrilova, who is an expert in the expert group of the mentioned agency in Ukraine. And due to her efforts as well, the amended law of tourism now contains contemporary international terminology and new necessary notions. Still, there is a process of forming the state register of tour guides. It's almost never-ending process. And we also support and promote safety protocols for guides and tourists. There was a question about the safety precautions, and actually, I could only say about my experience. We were blessed. I mean, Kherson, we were blessed, and we were not we were in green zone during the tourist season. So the precautions that we usually make, it was just the social distancing. That's it. But this is only for our part. Digitalization process. The association works towards the active presentation in internet. That's why we rebrand the website of our association to make the exchange exchange information quickly among the departments of the association. So we are in the process of development services of the accounts of associations in social nets. It's mostly Facebook, YouTube, and the others. We are in the process to develop online platforms together with our partners to promote new tourist products and services, also promote routes and local objects in Google Maps, which is also important. So, and now this is our offer to the national association. In April 2021, the association hosts the conference, Dark Tourism Chernobyl. We are supported by the administration of Kiev region, and we are very glad to invite everyone who is interested in the topic to take part in it. So the format of promo tours and roundtable talks is outlined. We also invite National Association to join our program in international internships, and we are extremely interested in training course for training course for the tour guides who work with people with special needs. So possibly there are someone who can help us, here present. So we are interested as well in training of national coaches from WFTGA for the regions of Ukraine. So our plans for the forthcoming year, we believe that on the joint efforts could lead to success. That's why we have become one of the co-founders of the Association of Culinary Tourism together with culinary experts. We constantly enlarge our partnership, signing memoranda with different various organizations like educational ones, state agencies. We invigorate our regional representatives and take an active part in internet projects. So what we can offer? We can offer the international or national online course in interpretation of cultural and natural heritage. So you can see the pictures of the courses that have been already conducted. As well, we can offer the online course in development of culinary tours and excursions. So it's which implies designing and implementing beer tours, designing and implementing cannot see the other one. And what is the most important, the training is conducted by the coach, a certified culinary guide. So, and here it is. Here in the picture, you can see that was the 35th anniversary of Chernobyl disaster. So our guides came there. We kindly invite to take part in international conference and visit Chernobyl with professional guides. So happy new tourist year. And we believe that we can restore tourism and trust through our joint efforts. These are our contacts. Maybe you would like to become a member, our partner, or maybe you can extend us some help in those training programs that we have mentioned. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for the opportunity to share it.
Lada, that was perfect timing. I was just about to give you a 30-second warning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have a pre-recorded presentation from Moldova. The presenter, I'm not sure if she's going to introduce herself on her recording, but her name is Victoria. Who will be showing it?
Sebastian will be facilitating Esther, and when this one is done, we can go back to Faisal from Piano Islands and give him another opportunity.
Now, do you want me to give Sebastian a 12-minute warning or 10-minute warning?
The video is shorter than 12 minutes. We did pre-check it, so don't worry.
All right, no interruptions then.
The video is exactly 6 minutes.
I am really very sorry because today here very foggy winter and internet is very unstable here. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Should we continue with you and do the video later?
My presentation?
I think so. I think Sebastian, Esther, if you don't mind, let's give Faisal the floor while we have him online.
Oh, I think that's good. Since, yeah, while the Wi-Fi is working. Let's go with
Yes.
Faisal.
I start.
Please start.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for this, some internet problem. I want to share my presentation. Here is, just a minute. Thank you for giving me this opportunity after net drop. And I want to say Piano Island Tours and Travel is a renowned tour guiding and operating company in Bangladesh. I want to say how I develop my connection with international tour guide during this situation. As a tourist guide, I start my profession. After that, I formed a company in the 2011. I try to realize the need of tourists operating and guiding to meet the demand of local and foreign tourists. Our company achieved government permission to operate tour program. We are member of Tour Operator Association of Bangladesh, BD Inbound, Japan Association of Travel Agent. Now I representing International Wedding Planner Association as a chapter president. We are also applied for a qualified member of World Federation of Tourist Guide Association. From January, it is the very peak time for us. And February, there is International Mother Language Day, also World Federation of Tourist Guide Association Day. We do a lot of program in this 2 months. I am also attending OTM Mumbai, BLTM Delhi, Tripura Government Program, International Mother's Day. After that, in March, the 2 month excellent starting journey. From mid of March, something alarming. Our government, we get announcement, but 26 March we celebrating 48 years of independence of Bangladesh, and from April, our tourist guides. Almost there is 1,000 tourist guides in rural area. We are facing a lot of problem. There is no activities in during this month starting. We are all are watching TV, social media, and observe the current situation. You know, Pohela Boishakh is the biggest program in Bangladesh, which is called Mangal Shobha Yatra, the largest popular festival in Bangladesh, which is cancelled on that time. After that, May, I connect with our tourist guide friends and our colleagues. We getting messages that there is no work, no money, and some family are facing a lot of problem. There is no food. I try to organize our community, and I taking the opportunity, and I connect with World Federation World Federation of Tourist Guide Association. After that, June, July, a number of professionals we find are jobless. There is almost 14 million are affected directly and indirectly. From our government, we don't getting any support, but our tour operator community called Projonmo Porishod, they get support our tourist guides. from June, I start connect with lot of tourist guide leader. I especially want to give a big thanks Ms. Maricha Donato, who she give me lot of support to build myself and motivate myself to organize my country tourist guide. And after that, I doing lot of webinar, and especially my webinar attend Ms. Aluska Ricci, Ms. Maricha Donato, Mr. Erwin Venezuela, also Ms. Ruby Roy, and from Egypt, Ohi Gamal Kamel, and from Bangladesh, Ashraful Jamal Ujjol, from Italy, International Wedding Planner Association President, Sweta Carano Bonadis. Also, I meet with Dr. Jack Wheeler, who is the Guinness Book World Record holder. And from Africa, I meet on webinar Ms. Jilan Blackbeard, Kumbi Chawin, President Zimbabwe Tour Operator Association. What I get lot of support. I getting response from them what their country do for their tourist guide, and I passing that message and sharing with our government, and we get result. After all, we are now communicate and developing an association which we are give name Tourist Guide Association of Bangladesh. Now from October, our government planning to open some our country popular site like Cox's Bazar, like Sylhet, like like some heritage. Domestic tourism are start, but not more like mass people involved. Tourist guide now totally jobless. From November and December, from November, government open UNESCO Heritage Site Mangrove Sundarban, which is the biggest attraction in Bangladesh, and from abroad lot
Esther, I think we have lost Faisal. Sebastian, is his presentation frozen?
I'm ready. Yes, he lost him. So okay. Here we go.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria Bucataru and I am representing National Inbound Tourism Association from Moldova as an executive director. It is nice to meet you all and share how Moldova tourism industry and tourist guiding has dealt in 2020 with a sort of challenges, but on a positive note. Before that, let me introduce you on the activity that our association is doing. We have three main areas of activity, first being skills and tourist products development. As part of this pillar, we launched training academy both for employees and students who want to pursue a career in this field. Moreover, we supported and launched the issue of tourist routes and programs aimed to develop tourist infrastructure. We promote Moldova as a tourist destination at exhibitions to create local and international campaigns. Lastly, we do active lobby and advocacy activities supporting the legislative reform related to tourism activity in Moldova. For those who did not know, in our small Moldova, from 2019 up until now, we have 48 WFTGA certified guides. All this was possible with the support of Moldova Competitiveness Project, founded by USAID, Sweden, and UK Aid. If we refer to 2020, we had 25 new WFTGA hand-on training accredited guides, 9 new WFTGA trainer accredited guides, and 4 cities involved in the activity, as well as 4 wineries as hosts. What are our challenges right now? But it can change at any point. The borders are open without the necessity of quarantine for visitors coming from countries that are included in the green list. Borders are open for visitors that have been vaccinated. No events are allowed. HoReCa is working until 22 o'clock. And many restrictions are on tourism activity. Let me present you a chronology of our journey to fight COVID. Lockdown started on 7th of March. On 30th of March, Antrim addressed the first letter to local authorities to support tourism. On 21st of May, we elaborated the guide with recommendation of sanitary protocols for inbound and domestic tourism in the Republic of Moldova in COVID-19 and addressed it to the authorities. On 27th of July, the guide was recognized by the National Agency for Public Health from Moldova. On 24th of August, the guide was certified by the WTTC with the Safe Travels stamp. As a result, 23 industry members received Safe Travels stamp. As a lobby and advocacy activity, one important modification of the tourism legislation that we achieved was in July 2020, when it has been officially approved that tourist guides can activate based on trader license. The entire month of April was dedicated to the promotion of Moldova by inviting audience to become our virtual guests by accessing the virtual tours. In August, we launched 3 routes, helping our guides to provide local market new experiences. We launched COVID-19 Antidote event as a support platform for local industry, including guides, where one WFTGA guide had the chance to present its new approach to work by going online. A series of trainings were launched too. In September 2020, 150 young representatives were trained, one panel being dedicated for the professional of tourist guide. In November, 20 local guides were trained according to WFTGA standards at the lower Prut reservation. In December, 15 local guides were trained at Orhiu Vechi reservation. We are very proud that we managed to develop audio guides, 26 audio in total, in collaboration with Chisinau City Hall in Russian, English, and Romanian. By the way, Embassy of Ukraine wants to collaborate for the Ukrainian translation. What is next? In 2021, Antrim, with the support of Moldova Competitiveness Project, founded by USAID, Sweden, UK Aid, will launch a website dedicated to WFTGA guides and their services. Thank you for the opportunity to present how our enthusiasts in tourism and tourism guiding went through 2020.
Well, evidently that concludes the recorded presentation from Victoria. I'm not able to tell if she is actually online for questions later.
She is not, Esther. If there are any questions for her specifically, we'll connect to whoever's asking the question by email.
All righty. Then I think it's time to move on to the Russian Association of Tour Guides and Tour Managers. If you don't mind, I have a quick question asked before they begin. Are you the association that bid for the convention when we were in Estonia and served as a stiff drink at break time? Russian vodka? Do you remember?
Sure.
You were? Okay, I guess we're ready then. Since it's impossible to have that refreshment right now, we'll just head on to Marina's presentation.
Okay, I'm here. Is it okay? Is it okay? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yes?
All good, Marina.
Hello, hello. So I can start, I understand. I was very impressed with the previous journeys, reports, and I hope that mine will be interesting. Thank you very much, organizers, for choosing this romantic title, A Journey, instead of a just country report. Our guide vessel started joyfully from 2019 coastline, full of hope and desire to update, upgrade, optimize, learn more, diversify tours, sign new contracts with tour operators, or learn how to promote our own services. Just a moment, I need to, like this, yes, okay. So the year 2020, we had great plans. First of all, we were to celebrate our 30th anniversary of Russian Tourist Guides Association somewhere late in December. And to start the year of 2020, we had good plans to do the International Guides Day in Moscow. And everything was prepared for that. So instead of that, already at the end of January, about 30 guides, Chinese-speaking guides, worked as volunteers in hospitals to help Chinese travelers who still came in January to Russia, and worked with doctors. No protocols existed, no protection existed. Thanks God they all were healthy and finished this experience with the first patients of the disease. The year of 2020, we hoped very much that we will finalize our work on guides profession regulation on the federal level. We worked on that law for more than 10 years, and finally, at the end of 2019, the project came into State Duma from the government, and we were full of hopes. And now we can say that this law went through the first hearing. There were lots of public discussions, and we went out with flash mobs to support this law on regulation, which has main principles that a guide here in Russia on the federal level is a citizen of the Russian Federation, that it's a trained person, the qualifications and skills are confirmed with the standards of Department of Education of the Russian Federation, and that all the confirmation and accreditations would be taken care of by regional governments. So the country is so big that we understood very well that being a guide in St. Petersburg or Moscow or in Kaliningrad or somewhere on the Volga River, you can hardly guide in the Altai region or Siberia or anywhere else. So regional principle was very, very important. We must say that there was, so you can see in the pictures our flash mobs. We enjoyed them very much, and because we knew that we are fighting for the future of the profession. To support that, you can see Sasha now. I know how popular he is, and you can see myself. And here, together with Sasha, we were at the session of the upper Parliament House, which is called the Council of Federations, where all the experts you can imagine were present, and we all discussed and were supported by the vast majority, including educational institutes, including all sorts of religion institutions, and especially we were well supported by public organizations of tourism, Council for Tourism and operators unions and so on. So we were quite sure we are doing a good work. Sasha was endlessly present at all meetings and was also supported by the vast majority. Who was against? Against were people who were never trained, who were probably very talented, who are journalists or architects or archaeologists, and they claimed they shouldn't have this education. We insisted that the regulation lies within tourism industry and not with all sorts of creative walkings or lectures and so on. So we didn't mean them. But anyway, the resistance was very, very tough. They wrote letters and petitions and always insisted that we are trying to get them out of industry. So nevertheless, we had a public hearing in summer where Sasha was present, and our colleagues from St. Petersburg and all other tourist centers, and everybody supported that the regulation should be accepted. It will go through the second hearing probably in February, and we will of course inform you and tell you how we are proceeding, and we hope that we can confirm that everything is okay, and in Russia we have a guides regulation law. Meanwhile, as we were getting out of work and practically with no material support, and I needed to say it at the end. I wanted to say it at the end, but I would probably mention now that what we achieved from the government, addressing the government many times and joining all other letters, addressing the support of tourism in general and guides in particular, we managed only to get some tax return for those who were self-employed officially, and of course not for those guides who worked on contracts with big tour operators. We got nothing from them, which is understandable because they didn't get anything as well. So there was 2 months tax return to those who were employed, and also 2 months minimum salary, which is approximately $300 per month. So not much at all. This was it. We started traveling when the quarantine was uplifted, and we started doing all sorts of educational tours, and we traveled far from Moscow. This was already in July. But in May, we organized online lectures, online tours, and we can say that it was all new to us, but we can say that over 1,000 tourist guides, accredited tourist guides and members of our association visited, studied, supported our over 20 lectures and excursions. Those excursions covered things which we never did before in our tour programs. We included architecture, new parks, new developments, training at our absolutely fabulous Space Museum. We traveled to places we've never traveled before with our guests, like Yasnaya Polyana of Leo Tolstoy. We traveled to Chekhov house in the vicinity of Moscow, and we did wonderful things. I will now go down. Okay, so one of our big events in summer was a visit, a training, and further accreditation at a new development. Here in the picture, you can see a cathedral, which is devoted to all those who died during the Second World War. Because we never had such a memorial cathedral before. We had a memorial cathedral to our victory of Ivan the Terrible in the 16th century, which is in Red Square, which is called St. Basil's or Intercession Cathedral. We have a wonderful St. Xavier Cathedral in Moscow, which is devoted to 1812 war, but we never had a cathedral, memorial cathedral to the last war. We had, you can see in the picture, the chief artist of this cathedral, as well as the chief architect of this cathedral. They were our guides. It's not only a wonderful cathedral that they constructed in a very short time, but also a museum, which is called the Road of Memory. This museum is fantastic. It has such memorabilia that no other military or war museum has. It was made up of collections of 3 museums, army museums. And what is very important that you can come into one of the screens, you can pick the name of your relative or father, grandfather, or whoever you want to see, and it will come out on the screen. The picture of your grandfather, the picture of, for example, my mother-in-law, and you can read about them, when they started the war, how and where they finished. And we could see many, many guides who were really crying, looking at their relatives. So I'm absolutely sure that when the tourism restores, many people would like to go and see, because it's a fantastic new development.
Marina, we have 1 minute left.
Okay, and we are finishing because here we can see our guides who participate in the Department of Cultural Heritage program. And this all was new jobs that we found for our guides. And here you can see how we participated in the charity project. We helped kids who are patients in the Lighthouse Foundation tours that we introduced, and payments all went to those kids. Also here we can see our students. We continue our training work, and this is it.
Thank you very much, Marina.
Thank you.
And thank you for staying well within your time, because we have one more presentation. Let's hear the journey of the Association of Professional Tourist Guides from London. Danny, would you introduce yourself, please? Danny, your microphone is muted. If you would please unmute.
Thank you, rookie still after 10 months. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Alushka. And hello to everyone around the world. This is very exciting to be here. My name is Danny Parler. I am a London Blue Badge tourist guide. I've been guiding since July 2016, full-time since March 2017. And December 2019, I was elected to become the chair of the Association of Professional Tourist Guides. So we are the regional guiding association for London. We have 590 members. And as an association, we have existed for 30 years now. Actually, 31 years now. Last year was our 30th, year before last was our 30th anniversary. So I have a presentation to share with you. Okay, I've shown the last slide. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so greetings to all of you from London and the Association of Professional Tourist Guides. So again, my name is Danny Parler and I have some slides prepared. So let's begin. So you'll find more about our association on our guiding website. So we are the APTG, but to the public, we are Guide London. So guidelondon.org.uk is our website. We rebooted our website in 2014. So everything we've achieved over the last 7 years. And we have 570 members as of now, January 2021. So last year was incredibly challenging. That's all I'll say about 2020. And it was pretty chaotic. March, April were nuts. We then, like the rest of the world, got onto Zoom, and we not only were WhatsApping each other, but we were Zooming all of the time as well, phone calls also. We found that incredibly useful for the membership, and we record most of the meetings that we have, so the rest of the membership can attend. We probably have about 70 to 90 people that can attend live, and the rest watch on demand or catch up. Many guides, of course, some have kids, some have parents to look after, some have other jobs. We got together with other guiding associations in the UK, such as the Institute of Tourist Guiding, who look after accreditation, examinations, and other things, and the British Guild of Tourist Guides, which are the national guiding association here in the UK, in the United Kingdom. And we hooked up as well. We partnered with the Driver Guides Association as well. So they're the national body for driver guides here in the UK. So together, between the four of us, we assigned certain tasks to get certain information from the government and the news, and then we collated that into a big bulletin, and we sent out bulletins every 2 to 4 weeks. That was incredibly useful. We also created a statement and update page on our website, guidelondon.org.uk, for the public and for tour operators checking our website. This is just a snippet, but you'll find the full thing there, and it features lots of protocols as well to kind of boost confidence. We're also, we are members of Unite the Union as an association. So Unite the Union support us and help us to earn a decent living. They provide our insurance and provide lots of financial advice as well. And they also lobby government for us. One of the biggest things that they did for us, though, financially, as soon as the pandemic hit, they reviewed how much we each pay them monthly. So what was £16 something is now £4.06. So that has made a big difference to our members. Unite have been lobbying government, so they helped create the self-employed income support scheme that many of our membership were applicable for, but a percentage were not, numbering dozens. It was great if you were applicable. If you weren't, you were completely cast out and you wouldn't have received a penny for 10 months now, which is just incredibly unfair. There's quite a strict application process. That group, the ones who were not applicable for the scheme, they grouped together as excluded, excludeduk.org/about. So whilst we are trying to support those guides that were excluded, please, if you can, check the excluded website and see how you can support as well. One of the great things about 2020 were that we put our learning online. So we have what we call CPDs, continuing professional development. These are like workshops. So before Blue Badge tourist guides that would specialize in a certain area would then teach other colleagues about that area. So we got online for the first time. We partnered up with the British Guild of Tourist Guiding and we provided lockdown learning. Funnily enough, the BBC have started their own lockdown learning series just last month, but we had it first last year in about April, May. And then we branched out on our own and decided to deliver extended CPD series. So this one was delivered by my great colleague, Sarah Chachi, and she delivered 5 two-hour lectures which our colleagues could buy tickets for, and that was all administrated by us at the APTG. And the great thing about them, they've actually given us a really important surplus that we can spend on other membership activities. Just a month ago, we set up our own program. I think it was 42 CPDs, 1 hour long for £60. So a great offer for our members, so we can continue training ourselves and teaching ourselves new content and new knowledge for the upcoming tourism season. And we've since branched out, and we're now working with certain heritage associations and organisations to deliver extended CPD programmes. So the presenter fee for this went to the Bath Preservation Trust, not Dr. Amy Frost. So we're helping put money back into our sites, and members are getting content not just from their colleagues, but from outside experts like Mrs. Amy Frost. We also created an internal business directory. So we asked our members, our 570 members, what other skills do you have that you can sell? So everyone sent in their skills, and here's some home and gardening, life coaching, teaching, and we have a whole list on our online members area, which our members access through the Guide London website. We managed to fit in some social events in the summer of 2020. So here's a picnic we had in St. James's Park, just opposite Buckingham Palace. Everyone socially distanced, and it was a really special event to just see people and, you know, gaggling guides, right? I'm sure it's the same in every country. And we even had some online quizzes. So we had a Halloween themed quiz, as well as a general knowledge quiz just earlier in the year. That was very fun. You can see me dressed up as Elsa from Frozen, a like dead Disney character. And our language members have been very busy. So 50% of our membership is made up of members that speak a language that, well, guide in a language that is not English. So that's about 300 members. And many of those have been mobilizing and creating lots of content over this time. So the Spanish created a welcome introductory video for our YouTube channel, our Guide London YouTube channel, as well as our lovely Russian colleagues as well. And these feature on YouTube. And some of our members have been creating also, oh, sorry, I forgot I entered this. This is to say just how much we love them and all of our guides across the world. And our Spanish guides have created their own official Guide London Facebook page, in addition to the English one. And the idea is that each of our languages have their own Guide London Facebook page for their own language, because the English one really is set up for English-speaking clients. And this is proving very successful. So if you can follow this page, please do. It has over 125 likes and follows so far. And one of the big achievements of 2020 was that we finished a 3-year project to create a French replica version of our Guide London website. This was a huge undertaking. The entire website has been translated, and we have 70 French APTG members that are now busily translating more blog posts and coming up with lots of social media ideas and activities. So please check out this page. The link is below, or you can click the top right, what is a Union flag, which you then flip to the French flag. And well, so many things we did last year. We set up our own virtual tour webpage on the Guide London website. Very early in the pandemic, we saw what was happening really on the continent in mainland Europe, and we thought we need to get involved. So maybe 5 to 10% of our membership are actively delivering virtual tours. And I urge you to please check our webpage to see what we are offering. And we rebooted our Guide London YouTube channel. We only had 2 videos before. Now we have 61, I think. we created live broadcasts, live weekly broadcasts covering all manner of different topics. And probably about 30 to 40 of our 570 members have helped create those videos. We're very close to reaching 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I think we're up to 700 now, so please subscribe if you can. That would be fantastic. One of my colleagues, Pepe Martinez, English speaking guide, he created a GoFundMe page to help support our marketing of virtual tours. We have limited funds in the APTG. We wanted to do more marketing than budget allowed, so we got together, and most of the nearly £2,000 we raised has been raised by our own members. Many of them—
Danny, we have 1 minute left, please.
Okay. Many of them would forego their guide fee for, say, CPDs to then donate to the page. It's been fantastic. This is a snippet of our Guide London our Guide London YouTube channel. Many of the different videos that we've created. But please go to the channel and pick your fancy. There was one today, or right now, on the Jewish history of London. Just a couple more slides. And blog posts. We have 400 blog posts that are powering our Guide London website. This is the best example of pushing traffic to our website. And we added 70 in 2020. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. So thank you so much for watching, and best wishes for you for 2021 and beyond. Happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Danny. And I'll turn this back to Viola and Alushka to address any questions. That was our final presentation.
Thank you, Esther. I'm not sure if there are any questions amongst the presenters that they would like to ask one another. If you do have questions for one another, just raise your hands. But just from the Q&A panel, there was a question from Christina who wanted to know, she heard that the Ukraine tourist guides fell under the Ministry of Culture, and she was just interested to know if there were other examples in Europe of any of the associations that fall under the Ministry of Culture. How's your situation, Marina? Oops, I can't hear you, Marina.
Yes, I can answer. Yes.
There you go.
For years, for about 5 or 6 years, we were with Ministry of Culture. And these were the years of our great success, especially in progress with our regulation law, guides regulation law. They helped a lot. They coordinated with all other bodies, including the State Duma, which is our parliament, and museums, especially with museums. You know that foreign languages speaking guides guide in 20 museums in Moscow. 20 museums in Moscow. They guide absolutely after training, after accreditations, but we come with a group and we do the tours, and this is on a 5-year basis. The Russian-speaking guides, as we call them, our colleagues speaking Russian, they have 10 museums to guide absolutely without any aid or without curators from the museum. So the result of this law, the body of the law was worked out when we were with Ministry of Culture. Now we are with the state agency of Russian tourism. It's called Rostourism, and we are very friendly with them, and they support it very much. But Ministry of Culture for our profession is ideal. This is what concerns us. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. And Viola, did you pick up any additional questions that I may have missed?
Oops, just didn't see any others apart from this one. Yeah, Yoni's got his hand up now.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a question before about examples of protocols for working with that we developed. And what I did when we presented a protocol to the Ministry of Tourism, a very detailed protocol, I took a lot of the ideas from the previous presentations that the World Federation had in September, and there were great ideas there. And we handed, the Travel Agents Association handed a protocol, we handed a protocol. For some reason, the Ministry of Tourism thinks it's the best kept secret, and they're not sharing it with the tour guides, and they're not approving it because it has not been approved by the Ministry of Health. But the protocols are there, detailed to the level of working with Whisper, how do we meet the groups. And in Israel, a lot of the groups that come are not just FIT for half a day or one day, but we meet them at the airport and we are with them for 7, 8, 10, 14 days. So how do we work as a capsule from arrival all the way to departure with the sites we visit and so on? So the person who asked the question, can they get examples? I think looking at your previous presentations that are on the website is a good source.
Thank you, Yanni. And I believe that Philippines also answered in writing by saying that they have comprehensive guidelines from their Department of Tourism. So I'm sure that Alberto will also happily share that with anyone who contacts him as well. Danny, I believe you have a question.
Thank you, Alushka. Yes, I wanted to ask Faisal in Bangladesh. Does their guiding association have a fundraiser to support guides? I think he mentioned that the guides there have received no government funding, and I wondered if he has a fundraiser and if there's similar fundraisers for any other guiding association. Perhaps WFTGA could compile a list and send it out so we can support.
Faisal, do you have a current fundraising initiative?
Thanks. Yes, thank you, Mr. Danny. Yes, in Bangladesh, we already formed Tourist Guide Association of Bangladesh, and we are getting support from our tourism board, and we try to take permission from government. And you know, in a rural area, there is a lot of tourist guides in Sundarban, in Sylhet, in Chattogram, in Kaxbajar, in Bandarban. This is our rural area, and the tourist guides in this area now totally are jobless, and we are talking with our tourism board and getting training support at this moment, but no support from government like some incentive, some financial support, no support like that. Some private organization like Pojarmo Porishod, which is organized different type of tour. There is a lot of businessmen organization. They give financial support in this rural area, this COVID time.
Okay, well,
thank you.
If you create one, I'd love to see it and donate. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Danny, for that question. And we are looking at, from WFTGA's side, to partner with someone who has an existing GoFundMe page for the tourism sector and tourist guides with over 20,000 established sponsors and donators. So to keep an eye on that, but I think we'll definitely follow up on your idea to put together a list of fundraising initiatives that are out there. So thank you very much for that. If there are no more questions, Esther, then I think you can go ahead, Esther.
If I may be allowed to ask an important question, please, quickly, is that for our presenters, all of your countries have access now to the vaccine, and besides the protocols of health workers and essential workers being first in line, is it age 65 and older that will receive the vaccine or have received the vaccine? And that leads me to wonder how many of your associations have guides who are over that age who will be able to get out and guide now.
Whilst you're thinking, there's another question in the question and answer section now.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, whilst you're thinking of the answer to that question, there's now another question that has arrived in our question and answer chat. But I think Yoni had his hand up to answer the question Esther just posed. Is that correct, Yoni? Did you want to answer?
Regarding your question, Esther, what was it?
Okay, it was multifaceted. The background being the vaccine being administered. I'm assuming that most of the presenters, their countries have access to the vaccine now, and there are protocols in place about who gets it first. And thinking about the guiding community, like in the U.S., well, at least in the state of Illinois where I live, anyone age 65 and older is now able, and we have a number of guides in Chicago who are over that age who should be able to start working soon. How is it in, say, Israel or Russia?
Here, as I mentioned, we are the leading country in vaccines, over 25% of the population, and already 5% have received the second vaccine. It goes by age, obviously, after the first responders and after the medical health. And there is now a debate, should teachers get in there? It's by age. So all those of 65 received it and above, and there are quite a lot of guides who would continue working in that are that age group, including myself. But we've started yesterday or the day before with a 45 age group. So it is covering quite a lot of our members. And it's good to see that they're all getting vaccinated. However, with no tourism, with everything closed, it will not help generate tourism unless the entire population will be vaccinated. And then after the second one, and a month later, maybe things will start opening up. So domestic tourism will be the main emphasis.
I see. Thank you,
I
Yanni.
think, Esther, we just have two more hands, Alberto and Marina, and we just have a few minutes left. So if you could both keep it short. Marina, would you like to go first?
Yes.
Just on the vaccination conversation, this will be one of our hot topics at our virtual conference in early March. So let's not digress too much from the journeys, but just in brief, Marina, and then Alberto.
Yes, I'll try to be very quick. So we have access now, all stratas, all layers of our people, society have now access, and we had very early vaccinated guides who were very enthusiastic, and what helped us that the category of citizens like who work in museums, and then who work in tourism, and then who work in cultural establishments, gradually started having access, and 65 plus also, that we have our own vaccine, which is called Sputnik, and then there is another one which is worked out somewhere in academic city in Novosibirsk. So everybody who wants already having those vaccines, but many are cautious and say we need to wait and see how it works. So, but everybody has access to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. For Philippines, talking about the population of the guides, approximately we have senior guides. We call it the senior guides, who are ages from 60 years old and above. With our association, we have approximately 40% of the total population of the membership. Now, in relation to the vaccination part, to the vaccine, we're now in the process of lobbying to our ministry or to our department and tourism. And we are so thankful because they're acknowledging it. And we will have several series of meeting to discuss on the details pertaining to that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Esther, final words from you, and then I will wrap up.
Well, let's see. My final words are basically how much I appreciate the cooperation of all of the presenters, and am so impressed with the level of information that you've shared with all of us. And I hope that your journey, now that we're in 2021, and particularly here in the US, we're starting with a whole new president and a whole new government. We have hope for our tourism to have some special meeting finally, and we'll be working for that here. Just have hope, you know, things change, things get better. When you've been around as long as some of us who have some gray hair, you just know to hold on, keep working for it, okay?
Thank you, Esther. So yes, so just in conclusion, from my side, you know, a few things presented today did resonate. So, for example, Yanni mentioned the possibility of losing some tourist guides, and I think that's a reality for many of us. So we need to really address that. James then mentioned a really fun thing to do with engagement to alleviate online training, and that was doing a comfort food recipe shared amongst members, which was a really good way to engage. Alberta, wow, you mentioned 100 million towards the tourist guiding sector from your government. So that's fantastic. It shows us perseverance does pay off. And then Lada, you mentioned using Telegram as an innovative way to engage with your members. Again, what a lovely way to use technology, something we take for granted, and you've showed us we can use it. And then, of course, Marina, you mentioned that you spent most of 2020 discussing your tourist guide regulations. So please, come February, let us know what the conclusions are. Let us also celebrate any announcements. That would be fantastic. And Danny is such a youngster amongst all us old guides, but love the fact that you termed lockdown learning between tourist guides. So thank you for that lockdown learning. We may just steal that from the WFTGA side. And then Enrique, I know you had a burning question as to where will tourist guides be 3 years from now? From my side, I can say to you, watch this space. We are really busy planning our virtual conference behind the scene, and we'll be sharing some more information with you soon, but we will definitely be discussing the future of tourist guides. So please keep in mind early March, details on social media. And with that, thank you, Esther, our global brand ambassador, doing us proud today. Sebastian and his team for the tech side of things, and of course to all our presenters. And we look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow, day 2, and we'll be hearing from Britain, Romania, Latvia, Slovenia, Central America, Northern Ireland. So I think that's our time up, and stay safe and stay strong. Thank you, Sebastian. You can close us out.
Thank you, Alushka.
Thank you. Same to you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Alushka. Thanks, Esther.
Thank you.